Yes, people, what is good? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for hanging in there. For those who are able to watch, apologies. I just finished up on the Touchline stream. I'm not going to be here for long because I want to drink the blood of my enemies. And what I mean by that is Ghana are currently 1-0 down to Cape Verde at the time of recording. I don't know if that result has changed just yet. But listen, we want to quickly talk about Spurs. I want to talk about the good. I want to talk about the bad. I want to rubbish some Man United players. Yeah, man, I wanted to quickly gist on this game. Normally I put out these uploads. You know what? Maybe I should just put out an upload. Yeah, man. Maybe I should just put out an upload, but I just thought, you know what? Let me just record this. Get my thoughts out there anyway, because I'm tired. Not sure who's going to watch it, but to be honest, them thoughts need to be pushed out there. Let's talk. Spurs went away to Old Trafford. No Maddison, no Son, no Basuma, no Sarr, no Kulusevski, no Lo Celso, no Perisic, no Solomon. Mate, word to end, mate. A lot of injuries. And listen, Man United have been injury ravaged as well. But when you look at the dynamic of our team and how we play, there were a lot of key players missing that could enable the attack today. And I felt like we really played like the home side. I'll be real. We played like the home side, and I'm content with a draw. I know if we had our full complement available versus their full complement, we're beating them. We're beating Man United at Old Trafford. And I think it's an indictment on how bad a job Ten Hag is doing this season. I'll be real. I know I'm meant to talk about Spurs, but I have to say, Man United, even though they carried a threat through Marcus Rashford and Højlund, they were really poor today, man. Really poor today. So I don't know whether Man United fans are watching this, right? But you have to be concerned at what Ten Hag is cooking up over there at Old Trafford, because it's not nice. It smells horrible. And I said it today on my Twitter. I was like, oh, my record at United is 4 and zip, or 0-4. And I didn't want to go today because I felt like if I go the way there, I might jinx it. And I'm happy I didn't go, because at least we got a point. So now we've gone to Arsenal, we got a draw. We've gone to Man City, we got a draw. We've gone to Man United, we got a draw. Yes, of course, we would have liked to have won. On another day, our performance is good enough to maybe take 3 points. But on another day, we could have lost the game at the end, despite how well we played, because McTominay missed an absolute sitter at the end. So I'm not going to come here and be too boisterous, right? We did what we needed to do today. We played well. Some players will get the credit. Some players will be under the microscope. But all in all, a point is a calm result for me, man. We'll take that. We're on 40 points now for the season, and Ange Postecoglou's Spurs keep ticking on, man. So we have to take it. Yes, big up Phil. He says we left 2 points on the table. Unfortunately, yeah, it feels like that sometimes, but also we have to take stock on who was unavailable, right? We were playing a midfield three of Skip, Bentancur, and Højbjerg. Deep that. Skip, Bentancur, and Højbjerg, with an attack of Richarlison, Werner, and Johnson. All three of those attackers who aren't really good at retaining the ball, and none of those three midfielders who are good at consistently playing that final pass to put players in on goal. And yet the midfield, they did surprisingly well today. They did quite well today. I thought the midfield did well. And I thought Richarlison had his best game in a Spurs shirt. But I have to emphasize how bad Man United were today. Like, I know I'm here to talk about how good Spurs are, but I have to emphasize how bad Man United were today, right? They were very much a moments team. And I felt like they had better moments in the first half than they did in the second half. But I want to talk about my thoughts on the team, because I'm not going to delve into specifics on the lineup. The lineup is the lineup, man. When you saw no Kulusevski, no Lo Celso, on top of no Maddison, plus the players that I already mentioned at the start that we were missing, I was never expecting a starting lineup that I was fully confident on or would be happy by. So I'm not really going to delve into the specifics on the lineups or on the bench. I want to assess the performances that I saw in each of the departments of our team. So starting with the goalkeeper today, I thought Vicario was assured. Didn't think he had much to do, if I'm being honest. What, Man United? Let me even read up the stats. I think Man United had something like 9 attempts the whole game at home. That's pathetic, man. Sorry. Yeah, Man United, this is a home team, by the way. Man United had 9 attempts, 2 shots on target, 36% possession, 1 big chance created, 1 big chance missed. Yeah. Let me just say this. I felt that both of Man United's goals were goals of the highest caliber in terms of the actual final strike. But I felt like we could have done better in the defensive phases. So this is why I'm going to start. Right. So Vicario, thought he was assured, claimed the cross as well, didn't put a foot wrong. That's just Big Vic. He just does his thing. Calm. Defense. Obviously, Romero back, it was a big plus. Van der Ven back, it was a big plus. Having those two, our record with those two, I think they've played 11. Well, before today, they had played 11 games together. Spurs had only lost once. Only lost once. Yeah. When Romero and Van der Ven played together, Spurs have played 12 games. I think drawn 2, won 9, lost once. So it tells you how good we are when those guys are in our back line. But assessing the defense, I thought Pedro Porro, it's weird. Pedro Porro had like a mixed game where like he was good, but he also had some ropey moments. But I'm gonna say that he struggled a little bit in the first half, despite some good moments, some great deliveries. But I think he really grew into the game in the second half. And what I mean by that is this. I think if I assess both of Man United's goals that they conceded in the first half, they both came on Pedro Porro's side. Right? They both came on Pedro Porro's side. And I don't think it's just down to Porro. I mean, if I look at the first goal, the ball breaks down in the midfield. I feel like there's no one near Bruno Fernandes. No one near Bruno Fernandes to put pressure on Bruno Fernandes. We all know, because of the high line we play, because of the way Man United want to catch plays in transition, Bruno Fernandes is the one midfielder in Man United's team where you absolutely have to put pressure on him when he's on the ball. Because if you don't put pressure on Bruno Fernandes and you give him time and space, he will find Man United's attackers in space. And when he finds Man United's attackers in space, depending on which attacker the ball falls to, it's problems. Now, I think that was the first thing we did wrong there. Too much space and time for Bruno Fernandes to pick his pass, but minute 2. And then I think when Rashford gets the ball, I feel like he comes in on the inside. I think Pedro Porro, it's too easy for Rashford to come in on the inside. We all know what he wants to do. He wants to shoot. He doesn't want to go on the outside and put a cross in. He wants to come in on the inside and try and fashion a shot. I think Pedro Porro is too easy for Rashford to get past him. And then Romero trying to defend with his hands behind his back because he doesn't want to get into a situation where the ball hits his hand and he gives away a penalty a la Arsenal. And even to a certain extent, even though I didn't feel it was a penalty, Man United at home. I remember a specific incident where he lunged, he stretched for the ball, but because his arm has had to move because he's stretching for the ball, it hit his arm and United were complaining for a penalty. It wasn't given, but I understand why Romero's doing that. But I felt like the negative impact of that is he was not able to sort of make himself bigger. He wasn't able to sort of use his arms to help dictate his movement. Now, we blocked in the first effort from Rashford, so it's fine. We've defended the first ball, but I felt especially our ability to defend the second ball in the first half was not good enough, and it led to both their goals. I think Rashford tries to go for the shot. It gets blocked, which is good. But then we can't let Rasmus Højlund pick up the second ball. And not only does he pick up the second ball, because Romero is still defending with his arms behind his back, he's not really able to open up his body enough. And where he's not able to open up his body enough, it gave Rasmus Højlund enough of an opening where he could find a shot at goal. And boy, did he find a shot. I have no qualms about the finish, right? Absolutely buried it. Fantastic finish from Rasmus Højlund, to be honest. I think it was good play from him. I thought he was actually good today for Man United for the most part. He did his actions well. There was a moment in the first half, or I think it was the second half, where he gave Van der Ven some steps, and he took his goal well. So Man United, I think Rasmus Højlund played well today. I thought Marcus Rashford played really well in the first half, faded in the second half. But yeah, I just felt like Pedro Porro and Romero, they could have done better for the first goal. They really could have done better for the first goal. But yeah, I think Pedro Porro, I thought he had a good game. So the reverse of that is, in fact, I might as well talk on both goals. Before I talk about the good, let me talk about the negative part, right? So even for the second goal as well, the second goal comes as a result of the ball breaking down in the midfield, I believe, with Højbjerg. The ball breaks down in the midfield. It gets swept on the left-hand side again. Marcus Rashford bearing down on goal. Again, Romero and Pedro Porro. They've got to try and cut out the 1-2. So Marcus Rashford passes the ball to Højlund. And I felt like both shouldn't have gone towards Rashford. One should stay on Højlund, one should stay on Rashford. And I felt like, again, it's like that sequence of play, like it was just a very messy goal for us because I felt like it was easily, not easy, but it was doable that we don't concede from that specific situation. I felt like if we do better at handling the second ball, Marcus Rashford doesn't get the ball back for a position to shoot. But that being said, again, fantastic finish from Rashford. I got no complaints for Vicario because I don't think there's anything he could have done about both those goals. Both were really, really good finishes, and they were taken by players that caused, I would say, probably Man United's most positive performers on the day, right? Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford. I think they were the two players that really and truly were hurting Spurs in the first half. So, yeah, I felt like both Romero and Porro could have done better here, but this is why I'm going to say Pedro Porro. I still think he played well despite his issue because Pedro Porro today, even though he had one or two sloppy passes and he struggled with Rashford in the first half, I felt both were much better at dealing with the transition in the second half. I felt defensively, he made some good blocks for Marcus Rashford in the second half. I felt like Romero covered him much better in the second half as well. And I felt on the ball, those guys gave Spurs a lot. You saw the deliveries from Pedro Porro all game. He got the assist for Richarlison. Fantastic corner. Should have got another assist where Romero should have really scored, but it came off the crossbar. His passing as well, switch of play, like switching it from left to right, taking the ball and beating one or two players, acceleration, playing good passes into the center of the park. Like Pedro Porro, he's really grown in confidence. And I feel like he understands his importance to this team because I feel like guys like him and Romero, not just from a defensive perspective, we rely on them on the ball. We rely on them to probe and split teams open. And you see the impact that they can give us. Romero as well. Romero, you look at what he did in the lead up to our second goal. Fantastic pass. Gets the ball, splits Man United's forward line and midfield with one pass. Finds Skip in acres of space. Jesus Christ, where on earth was Man United's midfield? But that's besides the point. The fantastic pass from Romero to open up the game for Spurs, and we go on and Bentancur, fantastic finish. So this is why I'm going to say, despite their issues with Marcus Rashford in the first half, I thought both of them played well today. I thought Romero, always assured in possession. The guy is a quality centre-back. He's a quality centre-back, honestly. I've been saying it. This guy is a top centre-back. And Pedro Porro, for me, easily been top 3, top 4 best right-backs in the league this season on performances. So I'm happy with their contribution today, despite the issues. Van der Ven, I thought he was okay. It wasn't vintage Van der Ven, but that's to be expected because this is his first game since the 6th of November. The guy has literally not kicked the ball for Spurs in like 2 months, bro. And to have your first appearance since then, to be thrown into the deep end against Man United away from home, I'm just happy that he got some minutes in the tank, man. And we're gonna see hopefully Mickey get back to the normal levels. But I thought he was okay today. He didn't do anything particularly wrong. I think he got done by Rasmus Højlund once, but that was it. That was it, man. That was it. I thought he did okay. Got a cramp. Obviously, went off in the second half, but I'm just happy he's back, and I'm happy he had some minutes in the tank. Now let's talk on Destiny. Let's talk on Destiny Alcatraz Udogie. That's what I'm going to call him now. Destiny Alcatraz Udogie, because as it was said on Touchline, When you go on his side, you die. You die. Right? Destiny, he barely puts a foot wrong. I can count on my hands the number of subpar performances Destiny's had for Spurs this season, and it's not many. I'm talking maybe 2-3 games max out of a possible, 21, 22? Or actually, to be fair, he was suspended once, in fact, twice. Out of a possible 20-odd games. The kid is insane. He is absolutely insane. Garnacho, who? Garnacho, who? Alejandro Garnacho, who? Right? I told people Garnacho, he's a good talent, but he's mid. He's mid, right? And he struggles to beat even your run-of-the-mill fullback. You're coming up against what has been an A-grade fullback this season. There was no chance whatsoever. Physically, no. 1v1, no. Pace, no. There was no way he was getting any change out of Destiny. Destiny has still got Garnacho in his pocket, padlocked him, as has been the case for many wide players this season. The kid is phenomenal, and he just keeps doing what he's doing for Spurs, right? Another timely reminder that we signed this guy on a new contract this season in a deal that runs up till 2030. Honestly, I see next level potential for this guy, man. And it's not even just me saying it. I'm not even just saying it because I'm a Spurs fan. Genuinely, just watch him play. Because I'm seeing opposition fans speak on him the same way. The composure that this guy has in the final third, and even in his own third, the pace, the strength, the balance, he is incredible, bro. He is an incredible talent. I still 16 million. I still can't believe it. Oh Lord, what a player! What a player! So yeah, for me, I would say our best defender today was probably him, or one of the two that I mentioned earlier on. But yeah, man, Destiny is special. Let me go through some comments because I've done the defense now. Let's go through some comments. Let's see what you man are saying. Sustainable shooter, big up, man. It's good to see you back in the lives. He says, big up, Tobs. Needed that win, but we'll take the draw. Yeah, definitely needed the win, but we'll take the draw. Richarlison's best game in the Spurs shirt. Facts. We'll get onto Richarlison. Ryan G. Teams always look to attack Porro down that side. He should play right wing for you instead of Johnson, in my opinion. No, he needs to stay right back. He's been fantastic for us in right back. Yes, it's a weakness, but it's a weakness sometimes that we have to compensate for. There was no Saar on the pitch today who normally helps in there, but I also feel like Pedro Porro defensively has done quite well for Spurs this season. Don't let the fact that Marcus Rashford gave him steps for you. Marcus Rashford is a talented player who's been playing awful, but today was a timely reminder of what Rashford can do when he's unsung in the first half anyway. Let me just go through some more comments. I'm going to start some shit on Richarlison. I don't even know what this means. You don't always need a win, but accept mediocrity. That's why you struggle in the end of the season. Okay, weird. Okay, fairs. Okay, big up Gunnar Lee as well. You pussy-o, yeah? You pussy-o. Yeah, you pussy-o. Yeah? That bloody bird up top looks like a real bird shat on his head. Well, that bird up top has got more than double the goals of your number 9 this season. Embarrassing. Speak soon. Lee, speak real soon. Because there's a lot of things you said about some of your players in Arsenal this season. Brother, trust me, they're bookmarked. Yeah? Coldest P, Garnacho was crap. Yep, he was really stinky. I've seen that performance from Garnacho a gazillion times this season. Gazillion times. Just go and rewind to the game at our ground. He played on the left. He had all the space and time in the world. And not once did he get past Pedro Porro. Look at what Rashford did to Pedro Porro today. Not once did Garnacho get past Pedro Porro in the game at our ground. Blomberg. Rashford was dreadful. The goal covered. I disagree. He definitely was not dreadful. Second half performance, it wasn't great, but I still wouldn't have. I didn't get Ten Hag taking him off. Yes, he wasn't playing as well in the second half as he did in the first half, but Marcus Rashford was the only player outside of Højlund that was causing any sort of threat for Man United. So when he went off, my nerves literally just settled completely because I'm like, that's basically their threat gone. That's it, gone. They're not scoring again. So that was a baffling substitution for me. Very, very strange sub. Strange sub in what was Marcus Rashford's best game in a long time. Very, very bad. Kevin K, big up Kevin. He says, you should have been more confident in the big six. Man United are rubbish. Yeah, Man United were really bad today. Big up Blomberg as well. He says, Udogie was really impressive today. Facts. Baller, bro. Baller. Let me just go through some more comments. Big up Yadio. He says, Tobes, did you see the Romero pass for the second goal? Bro beat two phases of pressing with a single ball. Unreal. Facts. All I get told is he's a liability. He's this, he's that. No, I'll tell you what he is. He is a quality centre back, and his on-the-ball passing is not spoken about enough. I've been saying this for years. His passing, he breaks lines for fun. But anyway, big up to Romero. Let's get back on job. Right? Because you know what? I've spoken about Spurs' defense. Let me speak about Man United's in turn. Yeah, because I'm gonna try and speed this up. I thought Aaron Wan-Bissaka did well today. Padlock Brennan Johnson at left back, didn't really give him a sniff. I thought Johnny Evans poor for the second goal and just wasn't really that great. And Richarlison was able to sort of like pin him, turn him. I thought Varane was average, wasn't bad, but wasn't anything special. And I thought Dalot was okay. I didn't think anything noteworthy of his performance. I just felt like our attackers, we'll talk on them. But I didn't actually think Man United's defense was awful. I thought Man United's defense was okay. I thought it was just the Man United midfield that was terrible. Now, let's talk about our midfield, because our midfield was makeshift, man. Our midfield was makeshift. We're playing a midfield of Skip, Bentancur, and Højbjerg. And I'll be real, I didn't really know who was playing the most advanced, because I felt like it was Skip for a lot of the times. I felt like he took up advanced positions, but then if you look at the goal he scored in the second half, it's Bentancur. That's also up there as well. And I want to big up our midfield today, man. I think they played well today. I felt like Bentancur obviously got man of the match. I'll start with him. I thought we really missed him when he was injured last season. Not so much this season because we've had Sarr, we've had Basuma, etc. But Bentancur gives us a timely reminder of how good he is. He showed us glimpses against Aston Villa, fantastic against Aston Villa, before Matty Cash ruined his game. He then showed us another taster against Burnley in the FA Cup game. And then again, against Man United today, playing in the base, like he's just a really good footballer, man. He's a really, really good footballer, technically secure, plays the game at a faster tempo as well. And he allows Tottenham to play at a faster tempo. And it's no coincidence. When Bentancur, I said this to my mates, when Højbjerg plays next to Bentancur, his performance levels just go up because he's got the assurance that he's got Bentancur, someone who is diligent off the ball, really good tackler, really good at tracking runners, very energetic, good at dueling, good at dribbling with the ball, right? He progressive in his short range passing, and he just protects the ball and he can absorb pressure, right? And you look at his goal today, symptomatic of how we saw him play for us last season. Gets the ball, carries it, gets the ball inside the box. Good touch to take it away from Johnny Evans, even though I do think Johnny Evans should have done better at blocking that shot. And he absolutely roofs it, gives Onana no chance. Fantastic finish on his weaker foot. First goal of the season. Thank you very much. Really good performance from Bentancur today. Big up to Højbjerg, man. And big up to Skip, because I don't think Skip is good enough for Spurs. I think he's our worst midfielder. And I stand by that. And I also don't think Højbjerg is good enough. And I don't think he's a top midfielder. But they did their job today. Oliver Skip, fantastic pass. There was a pass he played first time to Werner in the first half. I was like, wow. Fantastic pass from Skip, and sent Werner in a position where he really should have done better. He was bearing down on goal. I think it was him versus Dalot. He didn't really get the shot on target, but Skip did well today. Off the ball, I felt like the midfield offered way more in the second half than they did in the first. I felt in the first there was a bit too many gaps, but I feel like where we dominated the ball for the most part, the midfield were controlled and measured in their actions and in their passing, bar a couple of sloppy touches, right? They did their job today. They were never going to be a Maddison where they're playing man in on goal to score and stuff. But I think they did their job. They found the wide men in space several times. They found Pedro Porro several times. They found Richarlison several times, just not in goal-scoring positions. And that's okay because none of these guys are 10s. They did their job today. So Højbjerg played well. Skip played well. Thank you. We'll need more of those performances, especially if Lo Celso is not back for Brentford. Or, in fact, no, we'll need some of those performances against Man City if Lo Celso is not back, Kulusevski's not back. We're going to need them to perform like that. So, yeah, I thought our midfield did well today, but I feel like in order for a midfield of Skip, Bentancur, and Højbjerg to do well, no disrespect to those guys, but how bad must Man United's midfield be to let Skip, Bentancur, and Højbjerg come to your ground and dominate proceedings? Embarrassing. Eriksen was a hologram today. Eriksen was a flipping hologram today. Shocking performance. A complete non-entity. Even his hoofball passes, they weren't even hitting. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. It's mad. I advocated to try and sign Eriksen on a free last summer. I was down bad. I said, I'll take him as a squaddie, but nah, man, he's cooked. Eriksen is completely cooked. I've seen enough over last season and this season. And whilst I do think Man United have overplayed Eriksen, because he really and truly, he was brought in my opinion, to be a squaddie, and yet he's playing so much football, he's cooked. He's not good enough. Kobe Mainoo, 18 years old. He's a baller. I've made my feelings clear on Kobe Mainoo. I said it on Flex's channel, United View. Flex and KG's channel, sorry, United View. Yeah, man. He's a baller, bro. He's a baller, but today was just not his best game at all. He couldn't really dominate the ball. But that's not just down to him. I didn't think he had a good game today. But I also feel like Man United are set up horribly. And it's been like that all season. If it's not Mainoo that's being left on an island, it's McTominay. If it's not McTominay that's being left on an island, it's Casemiro. We've seen the issues all season where Man United play this 4-3-3 and they basically leave their number 6 to basically put out like 3-4 fires in succession. It's embarrassing. And Bruno Fernandes, my goodness, absolutely horrendous performance today. Outside of that pass he played for Marcus Rashford, what did Bruno do today? What did he do today? Rubbish. Utter garbage. He was awful today. And he continues this big game no-show rhetoric because it's very few performances where this Bruno Fernandes guy plays well in the big games. One of them was against us last season, this very same fixture last season. Bruno Fernandes was fantastic for Man United. I was there. That game was 2-0. It could have been easily 4-5. They pumped us. And Bruno was sick. I think he even scored that game. Yeah, I think he scored. But today, he was awful. Awful. The midfield composition's off. So you're telling me that you've got individuals who stink and are either going to play well below their level or they're just not at the level. And then the whole midfield structure is embarrassing. It's awful, bro. It's awful. It is not conducive to Man United keeping possession and keeping control in games because it's just the structure is just all over the shop. Terrible. And McTominay came on and did F4. Did nothing. When he came on, I wasn't even scared. I was just like, this guy's crap. I don't rate McTominay in the slightest. I think he's awful. Missed the big chance at the end, which is actually what he's only been good at this season for Man United because none of the midfield stuff he can do well. He's crap. He did nothing to stem the tide, but one player can't do it all. Yeah, I just think structurally, Man United are an absolute mess. It's a mess over there. Manager stinking, players stinking. It's a mess. It's a mess. So yeah, that's my assessment on the midfield. Now, let's talk about the attack. In fact, before we talk about the attack, let me go through some comments. Let me take a breath and go through some comments. Okay. Chaos King says, give Skip and Højbjerg their props today, but they still need to leave respectively. I agree, but they were really good today. Okay, I'm just going to start some comments about Brennan Johnson. Imran says, that's what happens to young wingers, you idiot. He's 19. Obviously, he'll have. Yeah, I agree. He'll have up and down games. I'm not out here saying Garnacho is a rubbish player. I think Garnacho plays like a 19-year-old, and that's fine. What I take offense to is Man United fans pretending that this is a world-class talent. A world-class talent was Pedri when he was 19. Musiala, you see what he's cooking up for Bayern Munich. These are world-class talents. Yeah. Phil Foden, that was a world-class talent. You saw what he was doing at 19, 20. What Garnacho is doing at this age, it's I feel like it's because Man United are so bad this season that what Garnacho does gets put on a bigger scale, or it gets inflated. It's not what he's doing in comparison to world-class talent. It's nothing. Yeah, what he's doing for Man United is notable because Man United have been cheeks this season, and the fact that they're having to rely on a 19-year-old to deliver the goals is saying something enough. It's bad. But when you compare him to the other world-class talents, he's just not at that level, and that's okay. If man told me Garnacho hasn't been good this season, but he's not good enough to be a starter for United just yet, he's a good talent, he's developing, I would never talk. I would never talk, because that's what I think on Garnacho. But when man start telling me he's the truth, he's next up, he's this, he's that, and third, that's where you're going to lose me. That's where you're going to lose me, Imran. Yeah? Big up Issa. He said, he or she, apologies. This game really showed how Man United rely on individual performances. Getting dominated at home like that is crazy. Facts. Facts, facts, facts. Motivation says that Benton called Madison midfield with a new midfielder or Biss and Sarr will be mad to watch. Let's see. Let's wait and see. Mustafa says Martinez was good when he came on. Yeah, I forgot about Lisandro. He came on. He picked a couple of passes. Yeah, he was okay. He was okay. He was okay. I guess it's good to have. If you're a Man United fan, it's good to have Lisandro back. Let's see. Let's see. Big up Nick. He says, "Oh, this is a different one." He says, "City fan here. Who do you think will start for Spurs as their main centre backs in the future?" Dragusin, I think, only chose Spurs over Bayern because he sees a great chance to be in the starting 11. Yeah, I think he does. And I think he's right. We only have 2 senior centre-backs, right? Arsenal have Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, Kivior, right? And then even Timber, who can play centre-back. Man United have Lisandro, Evans, Maguire, Varane, and Evans. Yeah. Lisandro, Evans, Maguire, Varane, Lindelof. They have 5 centre-backs, and you can see they've had to use all 5 centre-backs. Dragusin is going to get game time because Romero, whether it's injury or suspension, he can miss a couple of games. He can miss a couple of games. So he's going to play. He's going to play. It's a good headache to have. It's a good headache to have, right? Ross says, I hate that there are millions of supporters that rate Bruno. The man is crap. Sir David 7 says Bruno is crap when we play bad. He should not be captain. Casper Eriksson and Bruno for McTominay is a sub to have been made. Yeah, I couldn't understand why Casemiro didn't come on that pitch before McTominay, but hey ho. Let's talk about the attack. I'm running out of time. Let's talk about the attack because let's talk about the good, right? And I want to say this, Richarlison, big up to you, yeah. You ain't won my faith back. You ain't got my stocks back. But what you do have is ample respect for your performance today because Richarlison was superb today. Yeah. Richarlison was superb today. Holding up the ball, taking his goal well, winning the ball back off the opposition. He was really good. He was really, really good today. And as an individual, that's the best performance I've seen from Richarlison in the Spurs shirt because even his passing was good, feeding others into play, 1-touch passing, 2-touch passing. He was really good. He was very good today. So big up to Richarlison, man. And he took his goal well. Now he's on 7 goals in 18 appearances this season. He's nearly at a 1 in 2 scoring rate. We need it. We're going to need him to continue scoring because in Son's absence, we're going to need the goals. Trust me, we're going to need the goals. So I'm happy that this guy is continuing his goal scoring form. And that is now 7 goals he scored for Spurs. Oh, in fact, 6 goals he scored for Spurs in like the last, I want to say 8-9 games. It's pretty good. Pretty good. If he can continue scoring at that rate this season, then I feel like we should be able to get a sizable return from Richarlison in the second half of the campaign. That's what we need. We need goals. We need goals, but most importantly, we need that all-round performance today. He was not a liability in possession today. The ball wasn't bouncing off him. The ball stuck today. He was able to pin centre backs back. He was able to actually like play some clever, cute passes. He did well today. Richarlison, best game in the Spurs shirt for me, hands down, hands down. And that's where the niceties end. I'll be real, because you know what? Let me talk about Werner first, right? You know my thoughts on Werner, so I'm not going to rehash them. I said what I said on Werner, and I stand by it, because that's just where I'm at now in terms of rating him as a player. But whilst I don't think he played well today, because I don't think he did, I thought his shooting was well off today. It felt like he didn't really go at Dalot enough, but he got the assist. He got the assist, so I can't really begrudge a man. Do you get what I'm saying? Because he did what he needed to do when he got into the box in that moment, right? He played a nice pass into Bentancur, which led to our second goal. So I'll give him credit for that. But 5 shots, 0 on target, minimal take-ons. Still wasn't a good day in the office for me. But people are saying, "Oh, you're Tobs, you're being too harsh. You're focusing on the wrong thing. It's his first game." All right, cool. So I'm not going to come here and go in too much on Werner. He got the assist. We'll leave it at that. Now, I do think, though, he should have stayed on the pitch, because whilst it's his first game and I get he's not really been starting games for Leipzig, I thought that he at least offered more than Brennan Johnson. I do think Werner's performance improved a little bit in the second half in comparison to the first, but he should have stayed on for me, because he at least was offering something better than what Brennan Johnson was offering. So I'm going to speak on Brennan Johnson. Now, I want to say this, right? I do think a lot of Spurs fans have been a bit overboard with Brennan, right? I don't think he's been as bad as people say. And this is coming from someone who didn't want Brennan. This is coming from someone who said, and it's still there on my channel, we should really be spending this money on a better player. And I stand by that. I really do. I think we should have signed a better player for that money in the summer. Said it consistently. But I don't think Brennan Johnson has been bad for Tottenham this season. I don't. I think he's been okay for Tottenham this season. I think he's had some good games, some really good games, like Newcastle. I thought he was good against Man City, even though decision-making in the second half was a bit iffy. He's had impact. He came on against Crystal Palace. He had a positive impact in that game, did well. So he's had some good games for Spurs. But he's also had some stinky games. And I think it's fair to say that today was the worst comfortably that I've seen Brennan Johnson play in the Spurs shirt. Was the worst. Worse than West Ham, worse than Brighton, even though he wasn't like, I think Richarlison was worse than him against Brighton, to be fair. But yeah, this was the worst game I've seen from Brennan Johnson in the Spurs shirt so far in his Spurs career. And I just felt like everything was just bad. His crossing, it's like he didn't even pick his head up. He's just, as soon as he got the ball, he's just thinking, let me just smack it into the mixer. Fuck it, someone's there type crossing. Horrible. The crossing was bad. And I get it. He's up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Like, it's not easy. Like, Aaron Wan-Bissaka barely gets beaten. Not many wingers are beating Aaron Wan-Bissaka 1v1. So it was already a tough game for Johnson. I appreciate that he had a tougher job on his hands than a Timo Werner versus a Dalot. But that being said, I felt like the ball just died a horrible death whenever it got to Johnson. Either he would lose it with a sloppy touch, or he just kick it straight into Aaron Wan-Bissaka's legs, or he get tackled by Bissaka, or he would just smash a terrible cross in. I remember there were a couple of times where Pedro Porro did well to release him and just got nothing in reward. So Brennan, I think it's clear. Today was his worst game in the Spurs shirt, but bigger picture, I do think with Brennan Johnson, it just boils down to the fact that he's just not that good, and we paid a lot of money for him. Now, when I say he's just not that good, I don't mean he's a bad player. I think he's decent. I think he's a decent player, right? And I think we've seen it. Like, attribute for attribute, he's fast. He can get in behind. He stretches the game for Spurs. And I feel like when we can get Brennan Johnson closer to goal, because I don't think he's receiving the ball close to goal. I think he's receiving the ball in wide areas. If we can get Brennan Johnson closer to goal, I feel like he can score goals for Spurs. I do think that he's a serviceable player. I think like he's got enough in his armory where Spurs can make a relatively decent signing out of him. I do believe that. I genuinely do. When the likes of Maddison are back, who can find him earlier and get him multiple attempts on goal rather than doing things that he's not good at, in my opinion, or not really good at, like getting the ball and roasting two man and putting in a great cross. That's just not his MO. When I watched him at Nottingham Forest, I never saw a guy who's going to get the ball, beat 2-3 players, and put it into the mixer. I saw a guy who thrived on being a super duper threat in transition, running into space and finishing chances. So my worry with Brennan Johnson was always the fact that I don't think he's a good 1v1 guy. Now, I saw a stat. I saw one of these charts, and he is actually quite up there in terms of successful dribbles this season. So he has completed a fair amount of successful dribbles this season, and he has created a couple of key opportunities for Spurs. He's got like 4 assists. He should really have more, to be honest. I remember he's created more chances for Richarlison. He created a chance for Sarr. He created 2 chances for Sarr. One against Brighton, another one against I think it was Everton. So he's created chances, right? He's created chances. Sometimes when it's instinctive, like he has got it right, but sometimes he gets it wrong. And I just feel like fundamentally, I don't think he's putting a lot of thought into where he's placing the ball. It's like his head gets played through, head down, let me cross it. Fuck it, Richarlison's there. Fuck it, Son's there. Like sometimes, even Son, he created a really good chance for Son against Bournemouth. But sometimes his execution is wayward. His decision making is wayward. And whilst he has the capacity to beat players, I don't think he's doing it at a regular enough clip to give me confidence that you can play this out and out winger role to a high standard, right? I think he knows he played poorly today. Like if I can say this, he's not had performances like that all season, but I do think I feel like a lot of the frustration with Brennan Johnson boils down to the fact that a lot of frustration and a lot of the over-analysis boils down to the fact that you saw what our attack looked like before Brennan Johnson, the player that we lost, the amount that we've paid out versus the player that we've got back. There could have been better value here in signing a better player, personally. And that's just what it boils down to. Brennan Johnson is not a bad player. He's a decent Premier League player. And I feel like he's someone who can have a positive career at Spurs. I'm not looking at this signing and thinking, oh my God, this is a complete waste of money. I'm not. Genuinely, I'm not. I'm looking at this signing thinking we shouldn't have made this signing because we could have got a much better player either for the same money or for 5 or 6 million more. We could have got higher than a mid player. That's where I'm looking at it. Do you get? And that's where we're at. Until Brennan Johnson, whether it's through the addition of some of our better players in the team that can give him the opportunities that he needs at goal, or through his own individual actions, or a multitude of things, I feel like today is for a multitude of reasons. I feel like today is probably the worst it can get for Brennan Johnson in terms of an individual performance in a game of football. I don't think he's going to play that badly consistently for Spurs this season. I don't think he has played that badly consistently for Spurs this season. However, I feel like it's a timely reminder on why Spurs just need to be smarter in terms of how they spend money, whether it's on our attack or our midfield. They need to be smarter. It's why, even though I can understand how Gallagher fits in, I'm not really having Gallagher. It's why we need to move beyond signing mid players because, oh my God, they can do a job for Ange and stuff. No, why can't we go for the good players who can do a job for Ange? Oh, if Ange wants him, I want him. No, sometimes I get that. But sometimes ask yourself, is this player good? Would you buy this player if Ange Postecoglou? Would you want this player to sign for Spurs if Ange Postecoglou wasn't our manager? The answer is no, probably. If the answer is no, then don't be saying, oh my God, let's sign him because it's Ange. No, man. No, come on. We got to do better. Let's have some critical thinking and let's analyze players properly. Right? And it's the same thing with Werner. Like, I feel like stylistically, we've got attackers who essentially thrive on space, aren't really good at keeping the ball, aren't really good at dribbling at that man. And when you look at how we play, our wide players get tons of the ball. Tons of the ball. So, yeah, man. Yeah. Ultimately, I want people to give Brennan a break, chill on him a little bit, but also understand that, like, Brennan Johnson is symptomatic of the fact that Spurs ultimately had the opportunity to spend the money better on a better player. We didn't. So we have to take our punishment here and we have to work and develop Brennan. He's a young player. He's a young player. He's got the capacity to improve and he's had some good performances for Spurs this season, but he just needs to play better than he did today. He was awful today. He has to play better than he did today. He really does. As an individual, he has to bring more to the table than he did today for Spurs. And I think in the summer, because I don't think it's going to happen in January, in the summer, we really, really, really need to look at bringing in a higher caliber wide option. That's what we need, especially on the left. That is what we need. We need to bring in a high caliber, not no, oh, if Andrew wants him, I want him, but he's not all that. No, bring in someone who's good, right? Pedro Neto, I mentioned his name in the summer. I got laughed at. These are the type of guys Spurs need. Guys who will make it cracking. You know, no matter what, even if they give you an off day, they're going to beat their man. They're going to create dangerous situations for Spurs. That's the type of attackers we need. And I'm not even saying Brennan Johnson isn't dangerous. I think Brennan Johnson is dangerous. He carries a threat for Spurs. He does. But the problem with Brennan Johnson is his decision-making. What he does after he's manufactured that danger is the problem. It's the problem. So, yeah. This guy in the comment, Big L, if we was the experts, we'd all be managers, you clown. All right, cool. Fair enough. I'm a clown. It's fine. It's fine. Big up Yadiyo. He says it's a balance though, Toad. By that logic of signing players we would want rather than Ange wants him. I don't. No. So listen. So what I'm saying is this. Yeah, I don't want people to basically reduce their analysis of a player and what the player can do for Spurs just down to, oh, if the manager wants him, I want him. There needs to be more than that. Is the player actually a really good fit for Tottenham? Does the player actually improve Tottenham? For me, if the answer is no, I'm not just going to be like, okay, cool, fine. Let's just have him anyway. I'm not saying turn on Brennan Johnson. Like, Brennan Johnson's here, it's cool. I even said the same thing. Like, it's fine. I don't want him, but the manager is keen on him. Cool, bring him in. It's whatever. But when we're analyzing the player, I want there to be more than just, I want there to be more reasoning than, oh, if the manager wants him, I want him. Let's just analyze properly, right? It's the same for Werner. I feel like Spurs are missing a high level. Basically, I think Spurs are missing an explosive version of Kulusevski, because Kulusevski is a really good passer in the final third. He finds passes, he retains the ball, but he just doesn't have that explosiveness or that consistent 1v1 threat, even though he's completed a fair amount of dribbles this season. But anyway, that's where I'm at with the attack. I feel like they're serviceable in some respects. They are, and we've seen that in evidence this season. But we need more. We need more. We're probably not going to get it in January, so we're going to have to make do. Brennan's going to have to get better. We also need to do better at trying to find Brennan in better goal scoring opportunities. There's a bunch of things we can do, but we just need more from our attack. Yeah. Turkish is on the Turkish is on the Big Six account telling me to shut up. It's well, man. It is well. It is well. Fair enough, man. Fair enough, brother. I'm going to finish up on this as well. Man United, yeah. I've spoken on Marcus Rashford, spoken on Højlund, spoken on Garnacho. Anthony came on, did niche. But to be fair, he came on. The game was flat. Nothing was going to happen. Yeah, man. I think a draw was a fair result. Draw is a fair result. I'm not going to come here and be like, oh my God, we should have won. A draw is a fair result. Yeah. So it is what it is. It is what it is. My last comment that I'm going to show. Big up Yadio. So this is it. Our biggest profile is we miss a 1v1 winger. Facts. I think it's next in the summer, and just had one in every team. Will be needed when we face more low blocks. If I say this, they tell me, Tobs, shut up. You're complaining too much. You're negative. You're not backing the manager. Okay, cool. This is what YouTube is about. It's a game of opinions. If you don't agree with my opinion, it's fine. Anyway, people, that is it for me. That is it for me. Spurs, thank you. Wasn't the win that we wanted, but we'll take a point. Especially with most of our team depleted. We will take a point at Old Trafford. We move. The next team we play is Man City. Going to be a very tough game, but let's hope we have some players back. People, thanks for tuning in as well. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you turn your post notifications on. The next bit of content on my channel will probably be, actually, nah, that's in 2 weeks. I probably need to do something else. I'm going to speak on a couple of things on my channel. I'll probably put out one of these small videos anyway, but take care, people. Peace out and up the Spurs.